There's probably more than just these 6, but we picked out the 6 strategies to control my temper with my child. It's not the first time we've taken this one on, Vicki. How often does this come up for us?
All the time, I think.
We get requests, we get comments, we get people asking all the time, how do I control my temper?
I think it's just because it's, parenting is such an emotionally charged and important thing we do. And so when we lose our temper, nobody really wants to do that. They don't want to be the parent with a bad temper. So let's give them some steps.
And cue up this video, okay? How to control my temper with my child. This is one that we've already got on the playlist. You can click to it on that card right up there, and then it'll cue it up so that you can follow up with that one right after this video. Here's where I'd love to start.
Okay.
People before problems. You know what? One of my colleagues told me recently, he said, Paul, every problem that we face is a problem with thinking.
Okay.
All right. Now, he's a psychologist, so of course he's going to go that direction. But you know what? As I've thought about it, I think he's probably right.
Yeah.
Every problem we face is a problem with thinking. If I lose my temper with my child, what is it that I'm thinking about?
There's usually a thought that brought about that temper
loss. Yes, and I'm probably focused more on a problem than I am on this little person that I'm dealing with.
Right.
Babies grow up to be actual people.
Right.
But they actually are already people, which we can talk about. Put the people before the problems. Now, we still have to deal with the problems.
Right, you bet.
But the people are more important. People before problems. Do you like that?
That's a good one.
Give us another strategy.
Another one is relationships before rules.
The same kind of an idea.
Right, we have rules. I mean, everything we do runs by rules at some point or another. But the relationship with people is more important. And if you remember that, you're going to show up in your reactions and your behaviors and the way you show up in your interactions with them differently.
At the risk of giving you permission to rescue your children from natural and logical consequences, there will be times when the relationship with your child is going to trump whatever rule you have in place. I'm thinking of a father I was working with, and they had a rule that you had to be home by 10 o'clock or whatever it is, okay? His daughter came in at like 10:30.
Yeah.
There was some story. If you break a rule, there's always a story about it.
You bet.
Right? So she shared the story, and it was probably even a pretty good story. Now, this dad was in a position, do I enforce the rule? Do I come down with the consequence? Well, he made the judgment call in that moment to honor the relationship with his daughter before the rule.
Right.
And I can't remember all the details about that. But the point is, you've got to make that judgment call sometimes.
But I think even remembering relationship before rules, you still might side on the rule side. But you've taken the time to think it through and how the relationship is affecting you or how it might affect the relationship. So just keep the relationship before the rule.
Honor that first. While we're on this theme, how about values before valuables?
Okay. You know what I like about this? These 6 strategies for controlling your temper with your children are really great strategies to enjoy life.
Good point.
So values before valuables. So talk to me a little bit about that.
We got stuff. Right? And sometimes we get really uptight about our stuff. I'm thinking about a friend of ours whose child went around the baseboards of a public building with a marker.
Oh, just recently, yes.
Do you remember this? Now, you could really come unglued about that because the valuables, the property, has been damaged, right? Or the child breaks something. Well, kids are going to break things from time to time. Just plan for that. Put the values before the valuables. The values of family and relationships and what this child's experience is going to be. And it's not that the valuables aren't important.
No, but even one of the values, instead of just getting upset or whatever, and that's all the kid remembers, they then as a family got together and they cleaned things. And they were together. They showed that you work, you fix your mistakes, you move on.
And it became a learning opportunity for this child and for the whole family to come together.
Kind of a cute little Instagram post, too.
Yeah. You know what? I'm remembering a song by Michael McLean. He's one of my favorite songwriters, and he just captures some of the human element. And in this particular song, it's about turn them around, okay? The most ordinary moments in life, you can turn them around and create an extraordinary experience. And the example that came from the song was a mom who had dropped a pie in the driveway.
Right.
Coming home from the grocery store, just plump. And the kids are all watching mom like, oh no, here it comes, right?
You get in trouble.
And mom just silently went into the house, and they're wondering, what's going on? Well, she comes back out with forks.
And they sit down
and they sit down on the driveway and eat
right.
the pie. This is what we're talking about, values before the valuables.
And that one leads really well into our next tip as well. Making memories before messes. You know, and that just even, you know.
Well, that was really a good example right there.
That's the perfect example, right? It just, you're making a memory. There are all kinds of messes, and sometimes when you lose your temper, it just makes the mess worse. So let's make some memories beforehand, you know, instead.
Stay tuned in also to your power to create a mess.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing how we can make things so much worse by our attitude towards our kids. They might not even see how it's affecting or that it could be bad until you come unglued, and then it's just become this horrible.
Reminds me of a quote from Jeffrey R. Holland. He said, I believe the quote was something like this: there is no situation so bad that complaining about it won't make it a little worse.
Yeah.
Oh, this is brilliant. Yeah. Hey, we're on a roll here with these, right? How about this one? Babies before business.
I like that.
Hey, babies don't keep.
They really don't.
And by business, we can expand that, okay? You know, all that stuff you got to get done, and you can't get it done because of the babies. Babies before business. It's almost like a business owner who complains that he can't get anything done because of all these customers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Babies before business. Focus on those little ones because they don't keep. And this is their childhood. Connect with that. This is their childhood.
You know, I think about that a lot. They're only going to have 1 year of being 7. Let them be 7 and enjoy it. And do as much as you can to make memories from the messes and put the babies before the business. You know, there was actually a time, there was a time.
More self-disclosure?
Yeah, when I literally probably dusted the whole house twice a week. I'm not going to say how often I do it now.
Not that often.
But it goes into the month part instead of week part, you know? And, you know, sometimes at some point I just realized I was driving myself crazy trying to keep up on all this when the kids were doing other things. It was, and I honestly, I bet you if you asked one of our kids, did your mom have much dust in the house? They absolutely didn't know. They don't care. They don't care so much. I mean, obviously you want to have a healthy environment, but babies before business.
Right.
The final tip at this time is humor before hassle.
Wait, we have a choice?
Yeah, you know, it actually reminded me of one little situation I remember one time. You know, I have 3 boys and a little girl and piles of laundry in the hall. And I was just like, holy. I remember I said to you, it's like job security. At least I'll always be needed. You know?
That's a great example of humor before hassle. Most of the things that irritate and annoy us are the very same things that people are clicking on YouTube and Instagram because it's funny when you're not in the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, this gets back to what I said right out of the chute, Vicki, that every problem that we have is a problem with thinking. And if you ask yourself, where is the humor in all this? I guarantee you're going to be able to find something about it that's humorous, that's funny. And the more we can laugh at ourselves and our life, the less hassle we're going to feel. Humor before hassle. We hope that you're finding these videos helpful. There's so much more that's available to you as a positive, conscious parent. If you haven't yet checked out the Parenting Power-Up, would you just click on that right now and go over there, get signed up. We've got 18 mini lessons in that Parenting Power-Up. We've also got a program now where you can get onto a free parenting breakthrough call with a member of our team. We'll talk to you one-on-one and find ways that we can help to assist you with the most important job of the world. We're looking forward to seeing you on the inside.
And a child had look into my eyes.